Hello there, and welcome to Sports Extra, UNC student-produced highlights, analysis, and super hot take sports show. I'm Luis Fernandez.
And I'm Rivers Upchurch. We have football, sailing, and we're going to take our best swing at boxing.
Whoa, Rivers, don't give it all away yet. We'll get to that.
Well, we're going to kick this semester off with a bang right now, or at least that's what I'd like to think. But unfortunately, when it comes to Carolina sports in recent years, we have to address the continuing academic scandal and NCAA investigation. Joining us now live from our satellite studio is reporter Morgan Ammons. Morgan, help bring us up to speed about the investigation.
Thanks, Rivers. You're absolutely right. This investigation has been a dark cloud over UNC for quite some time. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your perspective, we are still waiting for the NCAA to finish their investigation. Last October, the Weinstein Report was released and brought to light a lot of things that we knew and some that we didn't. The paper classes, who was most involved, and how deep the rabbit hole went. It was all laid out for everyone to see. But like you asked earlier, there has been some progress in the situation. Let's take a look at some of the most recent developments. On June 4th, the NCAA said UNC showed lack of institutional control in the scandal. Then, 1 week later, the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges placed UNC on a year-long probationary period. This is the harshest sanction a school can get before revoking their accreditation. On August 10th, 4 days before the deadline to respond to the NCAA's notice of allegations, UNC announced it had supplied the NCAA with details of additional violations. Some of those infractions include improper academic assistance in women's basketball and recruiting violations in men's soccer. So what does this mean for the university? Because of the recently released information, most likely nothing will happen to affect sports this season. The investigation will probably not be over until April of next year, but there's no predicting in what the NCAA will ultimately decide.
Wow. To think that this investigation has been going on this long, it really highlights the magnitude and depth of scandal. Morgan Ammons, live in our satellite studio. Thanks, Morgan.
Moving on now to football and sports. The football team had their second game against the Power 5 conference team this year. Would it go any better than what happened against South Carolina? Fans #turned to green Saturday in support of sustainability. For a second, though, it looked like UNC recycled its defense from last year. On the first series, Illinois drove right down the field, but number 5, Brian Walker, broke up that pass on 4th and goal to keep the Fighting Illini out of the end zone. Another day, another dominant performance from Elijah Hood. He had 129 yards rushing and a touchdown. Hood's averaging 7 yards a carry, so I think it's safe to say the sophomore running back's pretty good. Quarterback Marquise Williams threw 3 touchdown passes in the game. Let's go ahead and check out this one to Ryan Switzer. Switzer makes the defender look silly on that double move. Williams hits him in stride. Touchdown, Carolina! Speaking of Switzer, sound the alarm. We have a punt return TD. Switzer took this one back to the house. Dang, he's pretty fast. 85 yards, final score 48-14, Carolina. It was an eventful Saturday for UNC football. You know, a win is a big deal, of course, but wide receiver Quinshad Davis stole the show with a record-breaking performance. It was on this play, second quarter, 2nd and goal. Marquise Williams zips this 9-yard pass to a slanting Davis. Easy TD for the senior wide receiver. And with that catch, the 22nd touchdown of his career, Quinshad Davis grabs the record for most receiving touchdowns in UNC history. He passed 2-time Super Bowl champ Akeem Nicks. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the team sounding off on Davis cementing his place in the UNC history books.
Guy. He's the epitome of a team guy. I mean, there's been a bunch of games where he could have broke that record and he hadn't. Never said a word. Didn't care. That's not been his number one thing, is to go break the record. His number one thing is to win football games.
The guy is one of my best friends ever, you know. That was so emotional for me because, I mean, I've been wanting to get him one and I haven't, and I finally got him one today, and I'm just thankful to have him as a teammate.
I mean, it was surreal, you know. I broke the record. All my teammates came and celebrated with me, but, you know, I don't think it really hit me yet, but it'll hit me sometime soon.
Right after you caught that ball, you went to the sidelines and you were looking out into the crowd. You were looking for someone. Who were you looking for?
My mom's. I caught the ball. I was trying to get it last week because her birthday was last Saturday. You know, score for her, get the ball. But I got it done this week, and I got the ball to her.
More than half of Davis's touchdowns have come from inside the red zone, so needless to say, he's a beast when his team needs him the most.
Ryan Switzer made a name for himself as a record-setting punt returner his freshman year, but it's been a while since his most recent TD return. How long? Well, I'm glad you asked. As of Saturday, it had been 630 days since his punt return touchdown against Cincinnati on December 28, 2013 in the Belk Bowl. That was Switz's 5th of the year, which tied him for the most in one season in NCAA history. He also had 168 return yards this Saturday in the game on Saturday, which was a new UNC record. Maybe it's a good sign for Switzer going forward. Either way, I think it's safe to say that with this little move right here, the dead fish, he's stepping his celebration game up.
Joining us now is football analyst Amanda Lee. Amanda, thanks for being here. You know, it's kind of coach speak, but this is seriously a team win.
That's right, Lewis. For the first time this season, we saw a glimpse of what this team can actually do. All three phases, offense, defense, and special teams, came together during Carolina's dominating 48-14 win over Illinois. Anytime you score 48 points, you have to look at the offense first. Williams had 203 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, like this one to Austin Prohl for the first of his career. Williams also ran the ball a lot against the Illini defense, including that one. Let's see, Elijah Hood is still killing it out there. He ran for over 100 yards again. He also got a touchdown on this 28-yard run on this play right here.
But Amanda, honestly, I think the story of the season so far has got to be the turnaround of the defense.
No, you're right. New defensive coordinator Gene Chizik has done a great job simplifying everything, and it's really showed out there on the field. On the first drive of the game, Illinois got all the way down to the UNC 2-yard line, but failed to score, and Brian Walker broke up this 4th down pass, setting the tone for the defense for the rest of the game. The secondary by far has been the most impressive group on the team, thanks to plays like this interception by MJ Stewart. Safety Donnie Miles led the team in tackles with 10. There's one of them right there. The Heels gave up only 14 points on Saturday, bringing the average down to 15 points per game. Last year at this time, the defense was allowing an average of 42 points per game. Huge difference. Offense and defense have really been clicking. Another real surprise this year has been the kicking game. You guys remember Nick Weiler, the same guy who didn't make a single field goal of more than 30 yards last year? Yeah, well, he has new hair and apparently a new leg too. He's killing the kicking game. Right now, he's 5 for 5 with 3 field goals just shy of 50 yards. He's giving UNC another scoring option, helping to pick up points on those drives that fall just short. You guys have to think that these players have been kicking themselves about that loss to South Carolina. Since then, the Gamecocks have given up 78 points in the past 2 games.
Yeah, they're not really that good. It's kind of frustrating. But, you know, a win for UNC against Delaware this week would give the team its best 4-game start since 2011. So good stuff.
Yeah,
football analyst Amanda Lee, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
The football team has more to it than just those guys on the field. Jordan Black joins us live now from the Football Center. Jordan?
Thanks, Rivers. We all thought football was just for guys, right? But recently we've seen a woman throw a touchdown pass in high school and even a female official in the NFL. But what about on the recruiting side? Women have a big role here at UNC.
Historically, it's been a man's sport. Contact, strength, conditioning.
It's no secret that women don't often play the game.
But they do play a big role in the UNC football office. Women like Annie Martin, UNC's director of on-campus recruiting. A new addition to the staff, Martin manages all recruit interactions.
There's quite a few roles that go into the behind-the-scene work, from the mailers and the content that we send out on a daily basis to the actual evaluation of the prospects themselves.
Martin ran track at the University of Oklahoma and knows what it takes to be a student athlete, but she says it's still hard for women to enter a male-dominated sport.
There is still a little bit of a breaking point for women to get involved in this profession.
She comes to Carolina at a time when women are breaking into the field. Jen Welter was the NFL's first female coach as a preseason intern. And Martin isn't the only female who plays a role in the team's recruiting efforts. Here at UNC, 36 female students work in the football office. Jordan Jackson is one of them.
We do the little things that would be forgotten. We pick up kind of the slack, and we just take care of the things that could easily be swept under the rug, for sure.
And even though these women don't play the sport, they say they're an essential part of the team.
I'm a teammate to everyone.
Even though you're not on the field, you feel like you are part of the team for sure.
Although they might not wear uniforms or play positions, they bear the responsibility of helping UNC attract a top recruiting class each year. Martin and the student office assistants are looking to make Carolina an appealing home for future star Tar Heels like Nate Craig Myers, the #1 wide receiver in the 2016 recruiting class. The Tampa native made his first official visit to UNC this past weekend. Now let's just hope we can get him here.
My mistake, that was Jordan Black live in our satellite studio. Thanks, Jordan. It was an ACC soccer showdown for the ages.
Did Carolina come out on top? The rousing highlights when we return.
In men's soccer, the #3 ranked Tar Heels took on the #2 ranked Fighting Irish of Notre Dame on Friday night. Notre Dame got ahead early with this goal from John Gallagher. That was just the third goal that Carolina had given up all year. But Alan Wynn helped the Heels bounce back with one of 4 unanswered goals, including this blast from short range. But Wynn wasn't done just yet. He notched his second goal of the match with this finesse shot to beat the Irish keeper. Carolina beat Notre Dame 4-2, marking the 700th win in Carolina program history.
The men's soccer team wasn't the only group that was impressive on the pitch this weekend. The Tar Heels defeated the 9th-ranked Virginia Tech Hokies 2-1 Saturday night in Blacksburg. Joanna Boyles put Carolina up 1-0 in the first half, but it was Katie Bowen's goal in the 61st minute that lifted the Heels to a victory against Virginia Tech. Carolina is now 7-0-1 and returns to ACC action next Thursday when it hosts Syracuse at Fetzer Field at 7 p.m.
Despite a major setback in high school, sophomore forward Jessie Scarpa leads the UNC women's soccer team in assists and points and is also tied for the team lead in goals. I caught up with her to talk about her rough road to stardom.
5 goals, 5 assists, and the reigning ACC Offensive Player of the Week. Life is pretty good for UNC forward Jessie Scarpa, but it hasn't always been this easy.
At the very beginning of my senior year, I tore my ACL. So, it was just hard to sit on the sidelines and watch.
After being named the Florida High School Player of the Year as a junior, Scarpa's senior season was cut short. She rehabbed for months, and when her first year as a Tar Heel came, she found herself in an unfamiliar position: defense.
I'd never played center back really in my life, but when I got here, I was just coming off, I was just cleared to play, so obviously I wasn't 100% fit, so Anson figured center back was the best role for me.
Well, we wanted to get her on the field, and so we hit her in the back. But obviously, I knew I had this huge talent. I had seen her play before she tore her ACL.
During the summer, Scarpa trained relentlessly to earn the starting forward spot. And since she's won the job, Coach Anson Dorrance has noticed a change in her game.
I think she's decided to get after it at the highest possible level, and I just saw her game take a huge jump.
I didn't really have crazy expectations. I was just trying to I don't want to put pressure on myself to score a certain amount of goals. I'm just trying to win, national championship.
And I've coached a lot of phenomenal players, and I've been a part of watching them decide to become extraordinary. And not everyone decides. And all of a sudden now in Jessie, I'm seeing her flick the switch. And the switch is telling me that she wants to be very good at this game.
Scarpa has also been training with the U.S. U20 national team and hopes to add her name to the long list of Tar Heels to rock the red, white, and blue. This weekend, UNC Volleyball hosted its portion of the Big Ten ACC Challenge against the entire state of Michigan. First up, the Spartans of Michigan State. North Carolina struggled in the beginning of the game and lost the first and second sets, but the Heels came back to win the third set with that Taylor Leith spike. Senior Paige Neuenfeld dominated all night. She had a season-high 14 kills, which matched her career high. The Heels didn't just lose the game, though. Check out this play right here. Number 21, redshirt junior Haley McCorkle is gonna go up for the spike right here, and she's gonna come down awkwardly on her right ankle. She ended up tearing her Achilles tendon and is out for the year. Her teammate Paige Neuenfeld was heartbroken about the injury.
Haley's a great player for us, and she's hard. her spirit's great, and it's really upsetting to see her out for the season, but if anything, we got to take motivation from that and play for her.
The Tar Heels did come back, though. They avenged their teammate's injury with a victory over number 20 Michigan. The block party was rocking, and senior Lee Andrew had a great game. The Tar Heels dominated the first two sets. 25-7 was the score in the second set. The score of the third set was a little tighter, but the Heels pulled it out and defeated the Michigan for the first time this year.
After a successful spring season, the Carolina Boxing Club is looking to keep the hits coming, and Jake Beeson will be a huge part of that. Our Luke Akinsola caught up with the junior standout about the upcoming year.
Only 3 years removed from lacing up his boxing shoes for the first time, UNC junior Jake Beeson is climbing the ranks of collegiate boxing in a hurry. Last semester, Beeson finished third at Nationals and was named an NCBA All-American. Beeson competed in many sports throughout high school, and the camaraderie of Carolina boxing appealed to him the most.
I was with a bunch of my friends at Fall Fest, and we found boxing, and it was just like the people were very friendly at the table. We signed up, I came with all my friends, and it just felt way better coming to the club with friends and getting to know people. It was way easier here at boxing.
How hard could punching a bag be, right? I decided to strap on some gloves and put my skills to the test.
I tried to teach him about 3 months' worth of work in about 5 minutes. And, for not knowing anything, for just jumping straight into it, punched okay. Wasn't the best in the world,
Despite what Jake thought, I thought I did a great job for my first time. It's definitely a lot harder than it looks like on TV.
But Beeson does make it look easy, and he isn't satisfied with his third place finish in Florida last spring. The bitter taste of defeat is still in his mouth. He's looking to build off the success and, most importantly, win the championship. In Chapel Hill, I'm Luke Akinsola reporting.
You can catch Jake and the rest of the Carolina Boxing Club November 21st as the team steps between the ropes for the first time at the Student Union. Luke will not be appearing, probably a good thing for him. Up next on Sports Extra, there's a certain sport we're going to spend a lot of time on. But I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Feel, you get it? It's a joke. It's not very funny, but it's okay. When Sports Extra returns.
Looking to recover from losing their ACC opener against Syracuse, the Carolina field hockey team hosted Louisville last Friday. UNC outshot the Cardinals 15-8, applying pressure early. The first goal came from Casey DiNardo off a corner in the 26th minute, and 3 minutes later, Lauren Moyer put away a timely assist from Malin Everett into a wide-open net. Finishing off the first half, Emily Wold powers a shot past the keeper. Boom! And at halftime, it's 3-0 Carolina. Tar Heel keeper Shannon Johnson preserved the shutout, and Nina Notman added 2 more goals in the second half as the Heels walked away with a dominant 5-0 home victory.
Field hockey is known for excellence year in and year out. They always seem to be getting to the Final Four. Our Gage Tillotson found himself looking up to one player in more than just one way.
At 6 feet, Nina Notman is the tallest field hockey player in Carolina history.
It's just like when the camera's at when the national anthem, it's like this, and then it goes up, and then it goes down again. It's really funny. I got asked if I walk around if I either play basketball or volleyball, but never field hockey.
Nina Notman is a veteran Tar Heel, and Chapel Hill is a second home to her. Born in Hamburg, Germany, she grew up playing field hockey. After a year of college in Lunenburg, she moved to UNC.
So then I just blindly looked up the top 5 schools in the internet, shoot an email to the coaches, and got into contact. Flew into a couple schools, flew into UNC, and just loved it here.
Nina isn't the only international recruit to play in the States. Reaching out overseas is a growing trend in NCAA field hockey. Coach Shelton says that process has evolved over time.
So it's a lot easier than it used to be, when they'd have to send a video disc or Betamax, back in the day. So now it's they post it on YouTube and you can have a quick look.
Location isn't the only hurdle Notman had to adjust to at Chapel Hill. According to Notman, the whole style of play is different in America.
It's a lot more physical and faster. It's a lot less focused on tactic and skills.
More physical play should be no problem for Nina. After all, she towers over opponents. Notman hopes her team will rise to similar heights in the standings. In Chapel Hill, I'm Gage Tillotson, reporting.
Notman and the Heels hope to finally push through that last barrier and get an NCAA championship this year.
The third-ranked Tar Heel field hockey team dominated the Miami of Ohio Redhawks as well in a 3-0 victory Sunday to complete the team's first weekend at home. With the win over the Red Hawks, the Heels improved to 7-1 overall and 1-1 in ACC play. This goal by May Lynn Everett was one of 25 shots for Carolina compared to just 5 for Miami. The Heels have their next matchup with the 11th-ranked Boston College Eagles on Friday at 4 p.m.
Up next, highly competitive but open to newbies too.
Sails are up and the boats are out on the water. Add wind and we're in business. The Sailing Club is hitting the waves with high hopes this year. The group is welcoming some new additions that might put extra wind in the sails. Aaron Wygant reports.
The water is ready, the wind is right, and the UNC Sailing Club is ready to raise its sails. This year holds new promise for the sailors. A social club and competitive team, the group finally has the resources to accommodate both.
Our fleet is up to 9, and yeah, it's changed a lot. It's going to make the club so much stronger.
Boats aren't cheap. Each one costs $3,300. But this year, the club received a record allotment of $6,000 from sport clubs and Student Congress.
Now we have 8 420s, sort of small 2-person boats that people can sail and learn on, and it's also what we race on.
The team lost some key members from its winning 2012-2013 school year when the Heels placed first in the state. With some new recruits, this year's team is fighting to reclaim that title.
We're bringing up a lot of people that aren't traditionally racers that we've sort of handpicked out of the club.
Turning these rookies into racers is about more than just practice. It's about family.
I love the teaching aspect. Getting to show people how to sail it's always very exciting.
Shep Biles learned to sail from his dad. Now it's his turn to be the teacher.
When they come out here, they're just like bewildered, but by the end, they can manage the boat out on the water by themselves. It's really cool to see that transition.
Whether a competitive racer or still learning the ropes, each of these Tar Heels is setting sail for a great semester on the water. In Chapel Hill, I'm Aaron Wygant reporting.
Dang, have you ever been sailing before, Rivers?
I have not ever been sailing before, not even once. I'm more of a pontoon boat guy, you know, like lay out, get a nice base layer going, but never sailing. How about you? Have you ever been sailing?
Actually, I have, but I always wear a life vest because fun fact, I probably shouldn't say this in case any of my enemies are watching, but I actually can't swim. You know, that's kind of funky, isn't it?
That might be useful information if you ever cross me, so why don't you watch yourself
I'll be sure.
Or learn how to swim.
I mean, I'm trying, but the problem is people tell you, oh yeah, I'll teach you how to swim, yeah, no problem, but I'm like, you can't see because I'm sitting behind a desk, but I'm like 6'2", and I'm like 195 pounds. Like, who's gonna wanna like pick me up in the water? That's so weird. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I have more of a buoyant figure and I kind of can float, but that about does it for this edition of Sports Extra.
Yeah,
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Have a great night, guys.